Good morning and welcome to today's College Football Playoff National Champions Press Conference. Pleased to introduce Devontae Smith, the most outstanding offensive player of the game last night. Let's go ahead and entertain questions. Please make sure you have raised your hand in that feature and we'll call on as many of you as possible. We're going to go ahead and start with Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Devontae, congratulations. Can you, describe, I think you went to a camp early on, maybe at Alabama, and didn't get an offer. And what was the interest from LSU since you were so close?
Well, they just kept recruiting me just to kind of be a part of their team. That's all it really was. They just kept recruiting me and just kept pushing me to come there.
What?
We'll take our next question from Steve Moulton.
Devontae, congratulations on the win last night. Tell me overall about your journey here at Alabama and just overall, what did last night mean to you personally?
The journey has been great. Last night meant a lot to me. Just everything that I came back for, I've done and more, and it's just truly a blessing.
We'll move next to Leo Johnson.
Hey, Devontae, congratulations on the win. In a career full of incredible accomplishments that span from making the game-winning catch in the national championship as a freshman in 2018 to winning the Heisman and the national championship once again this year, overall, how would you summarize your Alabama career?
It's been unique and unforgettable. Just everything that's been happening from my freshman to senior year, just things that I'll never forget.
We'll take our next question from Larry West.
Hello, Devontae.
My apologies, West Slammy.
Thank you. Hi, Devontae. Can you describe, obviously, your focus level that you've demonstrated throughout this season on, obviously, people speaking to you about potentially being a Heisman Trophy winner, but keeping it focused on game by game to the ultimate goal that you received last night, and you actually showing maybe just a bit of a smile, captivating the season?
Just that the Heisman wasn't something that I came back for. I came back to get a degree and to win a national championship. So that's why that meant so much to me and why I was just so happy about it, because the two main boxes that I wanted to check off, I checked off.
We'll go back to Dennis Dodd.
Yeah, Devontae, if there is expansion in the future of this bracket, it would mean playing another game for a team like you. Can you imagine at this point having to play another game after all you guys have accomplished?
I think it'd just be just another game, just extra game for people to go out there and compete.
How are you physically right now? How worn down are you?
Outside of my hand, I feel good.
We'll take our next question from Mark Stallworth.
Hey, Devontae, congratulations on winning the national championship. My question to you is, what songs were you listening to in the pregame to get motivated for the game and the performance that you had last night?
I kind of listened to somewhat of everything from Rick Ross to Pooh Shiesty. My playlist's everywhere, honestly.
We'll go next to Donnie Woods.
Devontae, congratulations on a great season and also for being so humble. Multiple times you talked about, checking off 2 boxes and coming back to school. why did you decide to come back to school, and what would you tell the youngsters that have that opportunity to move on or to get education? Why education is so important to you?
Because eventually you're gonna have life after football. Football is gonna end one day, so you're gonna have to find something else to do. And I just wanted to get my degree, so hopefully when I'm done playing, I can end up coaching or training athletes.
Steve Moulton.
Devontae, I was hoping you could speak to the year Mac Jones has had, and you two kind of being in the same class, and just if you could talk about Mac in particular, Devontae.
Well, he puts the work in. He's in early in the morning watching film, lifting weights, and he comes out to practice every day and tries to make everyone around him better. So I feel like that's a reason this team has a lot of success, because the dedication that we had and the discipline, just going into everything that we did.
Devontae, thank you very much. And again, congratulations. We'll now hold for Christian Barmore to join us. We're now joined by the most outstanding defensive player of the game last night, Christian Barmore. We'll go right to questions. Let's start with Steve Moulton.
Christian, congratulations on last night. It just has it sunk in yet? This entire season, playing an all SEC schedule, being undefeated. What does that mean to you?
It means really happy for my team, really happy for my D-line, and really happy for all my brothers, because we worked hard what we did, and we came back and we just kept working. We never stopped. We blocked out all the noise, and it's like really having fun with it, and I'm just really happy with my team.
We'll take our next question from Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Christian, every team in the country went through stuff off the field this season during COVID. But what kind of credit do you guys get for getting this far and getting through it? What was that like off the field?
Well, I got a quote from Kobe Bryant. We had Mamba mentality. Everybody did good their own way, but I know we had the best mentality. Like we just like worked, focused and worked. We didn't go out, none of that. So we just like grinded, and we just like literally just played and just got better every day.
Take our next question from West Lammy.
Yes, Christian, can you share obviously your thoughts on obviously the offense on the offensive end? They've been consistently getting their praise in terms of what they do throughout the year, but you guys really did your part consistently stopping Ohio State last night. What are your thoughts on the defensive end?
Ohio State is a real good team, real good team. One of the toughest offenses we played against. I got a lot of respect for them. But my defense, we had a different mindset. Like, we came in there to dominate, and we had nothing else to think about. So we just really just focused in, do what we had to do, and just we just had to do what we had to do.
We'll go next to Susan Degnan.
Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. First of all, congratulations on just a beautiful performance as a team and an individual.
Appreciate that.
And obviously, Coach Saban very well, and obviously you're still celebrating your last win. But when do you guys usually start preparing, even through film study, for your next opponent? And also, what do you know about the University of Miami? Are you coming back? You're coming back. You're a sophomore, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm wondering. I cover University of Miami, and I'm wondering. I'm sure they saw the game and were like, "Whoa." Um, when do you start preparing, and what do you know about University of Miami? Just talk a little bit about looking ahead.
University of Miami. Well, we didn't have them on the schedule, so we didn't look at them really because we didn't play against them. But they probably be a good team. But they have a good stadium though, so yeah.
We'll head back to Dennis Dodd.
Whoops. Christian, if you had to play another game right now, what would that be like? I'm just talking about expansion in the future of the playoff bracket.
Anywhere, like 100%. I mean, I know we celebrating, but we ready for whatever. Really, it could be like next game of schedule, whatever. We just like, I believe my team every day before me. Like we always ready.
Take our next question from David Wilson.
Hey, Christian. You guys had a lot of players, particularly on offense, who probably could have gone to the NFL last year, but decided to come back. Devontae, obviously, Najee. Just when those guys all decided to come back, I know at Alabama you guys expect to be a national contender every year, but do you remember kind of what you thought when some of those guys started returning to make another run at this?
Well, one, they made us better every day because that's the best offense in the whole world. So I'm really happy. Them seniors came back and got us better, and they motivated us, and they was good leaders. So they helped us. They helped all the young dudes and the juniors motivate us to step up our game and like be on their side and rock and like help be on their side every time in the game.
We'll take our next question from Mike Rodak.
Christian, just to clarify something from before there, I know you're asked about next season. Have you made a decision yet about whether you're coming back?
I'm just enjoying the 24 hours. I mean, that's a family decision, so I'm just enjoying this next 24 hours right now.
We'll go back to Steve Moulton.
If you could talk about the initial 3-and-out last night against Ohio State, I thought that was big myself, but just from that defensive mindset, heading into that game, that initial 3-and-out, how big was that for you guys, just from a confidence standpoint?
Well, we always do it. We always do it every day in practice, 3-and-out, to get off the field because our coaches, we work so hard. They work so hard with us, with the stuff we do. So we make sure that we can get rest fresh out of our bodies before, like end of the game, later down the road if it get crazier. So we try to get 3-and-out fast as we can, so we can be good down the road.
Next question from Adrian Beecher.
Christian, when you look back on your career and the obstacles you've had to come over season after season, going from your early days playing football to now, and knowing everything you had to get through this season and how locked in you had to be to make sure the team stayed, away from COVID and all the sacrifices you guys had to make as players, especially collegiate athletes, how much sweeter does this feeling really resonate with you, knowing that all the sacrifices you had to make this year as you look back on all the obstacles you've had to overcome year after year?
Well, like, if you come to Alabama, really doesn't mean anything. It was a challenge every day, so the corona really wasn't nothing because, like, we challenge every day. Every day at practice, every day we work, so really, like, that really wasn't nothing. We just came back, and we back day one working, so.
Christian, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And again, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're now pleased to be joined by Alabama head coach Nick Saban. Coach, when you're ready, if you would give us a quick statement and then we'll take questions.
Well, it was an extraordinary year. I think we made adaptations every day, and I think the players responded to that. The coaching staff responded to it in a way that allowed us, even in the game last night, when we had to make adaptations in the game, whether Smitty going down, Mechie going down, the next guys came in and played well, and really didn't skip a beat. So I think the game was actually sort of a reflection of the year in terms of the extraordinary circumstances that we had and this extraordinary job our players, our coaching staff, and everybody did making adaptations to those things, which is ability to adapt is probably a real key to being successful, especially in times like these. So just couldn't be prouder of a group of young men and a coaching staff that did a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much. Let's start our questions. We'll go first to Dennis Dodd.
Nick, congratulations again. This is going to lead, or has led, to the talk of expansion in the future. How do you feel about that? And can you imagine, at this point, everything you've put on the line, having to play another game right now?
I have mixed emotions about expansion. I always said way back when we started this whole playoff thing, and even when we started just having a two-team national championship game, that this would, reflect poorly on players' interest in playing in bowl games. I think that's come to fruition with the number of guys that opt out and don't play. And one of the great things about college football is a lot of players got rewarded for got a lot of positive self-gratification for having a good season by being able to go to a bowl game. And there was a lot of interest in all those games, and there were some great matchups. And, we have some great bowl partners in college football. And, now that we have a playoff, even though it's 4 teams, all the attention goes to the playoff. And the importance of bowl games has been minimized with fans, players. So I don't know if that's good or bad. So if we expand, that's going to further diminish the importance of bowl games. And maybe those two things can't coexist. And if they can't coexist, then having a bigger playoff would probably be a good thing.
We'll go next to John Zener.
Good morning, Coach. I know in the moment you're celebrating everything last night, but how long does it take your mind to, whether it's to-do list, what you got to do to get back to contend again? How quickly do you turn to that kind of mentally?
Well, the to-do list started after the game last night. Meetings with players. We'll continue to have meetings with players, whether it's draft status, and then one of the other unusual things is seniors can even come back if they want to come back next year. So talking to some of those guys. So we got juniors that have to make decisions about the draft. So those things are pretty immediate, and we started on them last night right after the game. So it's an ongoing process building a team, and I don't think you can fall asleep at the switch for a minute if you want to try to do it the right way for your players and your program.
Take our next question from Dan Ralph.
Morning, Coach. Thank you again. I wanted to ask you about what the experience for John Mechie this year was, and how you see him growing next year as a defending champion and a starter on this offense.
Well, John Mechie played outstanding football for us all year. He showed a lot of grit and toughness because he's had a bad ankle for about the last half of the season. It was very difficult for him to practice. He actually didn't practice one play for all the practices that we had for this last game, other than walkthroughs and doing a little bit of individual, and then goes out and plays extremely well in the game. He didn't make it through the game, but I think it shows a lot of competitive toughness on his part, a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and a lot of mental toughness to be able to go through and do what he did. So, and I think all those things are going to serve him well in the future in terms of his continued growth as a player, and his production and performance, I think, will sort of verify that, next year, because the guy is a very talented guy. He's a hard worker, and it's important to him.
Let's go next to Donnie Woods.
Coach, congratulations on your 7th national championship. I know, moving forward, you need a new offensive coordinator. Are you expecting any other coaches to find a new job? And then how close are you to hiring a new offensive coordinator?
We always let you know those things, when they happen. I can't make any predictions about our staff. I think we have a wonderful staff. I like the chemistry on our staff. We're happy for Sark. I don't know what other opportunities will be out there for our coaches. So we'll just have to wait and see. I can't answer that. And, it's an ongoing process for us to, find the right offensive coordinator, and we're certainly in the process of doing that.
We'll go next to Leo Johnson.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. In your opinion, how much did Mac Jones improve this season, and what do you think his future holds?
Well, I think Mac Jones had a phenomenal season. I mean, the completion percentage that he had, the accuracy, the command of the offense, the understanding of coverage and getting the ball to the right guys, consistency in performance. Guy just played awesome. He's a very bright guy. And I think it's a lesson for a lot of people out there to look at how important it is to emphasize your development, because each year Mac was here. He actually said to me on the stage last night when we were getting a championship trophy, he said, "Can you believe this? From a scout team quarterback to winning a national championship." But I think sometimes people aren't willing to make the kind of sacrifices that you have to make to go through that kind of development to eventually become the kind of player Mac has become. And I think he has a very bright future. We'll actually talk about that, sometime here in the next day or two. But he has a really bright future. He's already graduated. He's already got a master's degree. And he certainly had a great year.
We'll go next to West Lammy.
Coach Saban, congratulations. Coach, obviously, can you share personally just the year for yourself in terms of managing your program this year, and obviously you even missing a game because of COVID? How has it been for you mentally, and obviously where does this season rank for you?
Well, just like the players, we told the players that they would have to adapt or die in terms of all the things that would happen this year. And we also told them in the beginning, whoever manages these circumstances and situations and disruptions is going to be the team that had the best chance to be successful. And none of the things that happened affected our team. First false positive I had, missed 3 days before the Georgia game. Players just didn't skip a beat. But that was their mindset all year. Missing the Auburn game, didn't skip a beat. So I think there was a resiliency that we all developed because of the constant changes, and knew that everybody was going to have to be able to adapt if we were going to be able to survive as a team, and everybody sort of adopted that and accepted that and didn't let these things, bother them. But look, I'm focused on what I need to do to help our program continue to be successful. We've had a lot of support. Every year is a new year. Every year is a new challenge. So, you like to enjoy this game for a minute, but we also know there's a lot of challenges in the future.
Let's go next to Susan Degman.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on the win. Do you, I know you want to enjoy this for a minute, but do you foresee, a whole different type of team, to start out next season when you're playing Miami? And I was wondering about the process to begin for next season. When does that begin for a coach? And I'm just wondering about Miami and what you know about them.
I really don't know much about them at all. Obviously we had a big game last night, and we had a big game last week, and we had a big game before that in the SEC championship game. So, look, the first thing we do is, talk to the players about their future. Next week we'll talk to every player on the team about strength, weaknesses, things they need to do to work on in the offseason to get better, whether it's from a personal standpoint, whether it's an academic standpoint, a behavioral standpoint, or a football standpoint. And the process of trying to get our players to improve, and then managing the team that we have. And I think in this day and age, the way your roster can move, you don't know for sure exactly how that's going to be right now. Guys going out for the draft, some players transferring. So we just have to take it one day at a time. But that process begins immediately. We'll go through off-season program the best we can. We'll go through spring practice if we have spring practice. And we'll continue to try to recruit the best we can. And hopefully we get back to normal here sometime soon.
We'll take our next question from Dennis Dodd.
Nick, it's one thing for you to historically give these coaches jobs or a second chance in your program, but how do you explain their success? Obviously, Mike Loxley has left, Lane, Sark. Butch has a job now at Arkansas State. What has happened within that program that has allowed them to succeed?
Well, I think, first of all those guys made a significant contribution to the success of the program. And in most cases, they were in a leadership role. Even Butch was a special assistant to me and was very helpful to me. The other guys were all coordinators, did a wonderful job as coordinators, were very productive, and showed that they had leadership ability and the command of a system offensively that could help a program be successful. They all had head coaching experience and backgrounds, and I think that the process that we use at Alabama, even though we've been fortunate to have a lot of good players and a lot of good coaches, is something that sometimes people would like to know more about. So sometimes they're interested in people who've had experience in that. So I'm happy for all those guys that they were able to get jobs and they were able to improve professionally because of the great job they did for us.
Take our next question from Steve Moulton.
Coach, congratulations on the championship last night. And yeah, I've heard you in the past talk about team identity. And really, now that you've come to the finish line of this team with the pause in November to ultimately getting to this national championship and winning, what are you going to remember most about this team this year, Coach?
Well, I think this team showed great perseverance, great resiliency. This is probably the team togetherness on this team. This was kind of the ultimate team. These guys were like a high school team in terms of how they got along together, how they supported each other, how they played together, how they overcame adversity. So, we've had teams here that have had probably more talent overall. I know we're a very talented offensive team, but I'm just saying overall, lots of players, lots of places that never accomplished what this team accomplished. And it's very difficult to go undefeated. It's very difficult to deal with success. But whatever the challenge was for this team, they were able to do it. But I think what I'll remember most is never had any issues at all, not any complaining at all. Everybody bought into what we ask them to do on a daily basis. Never any complaining about anything. This is just the most together, committed group I think we've ever had the opportunity to be associated with, and I think that's special. And I think all these guys on this team will remember being part of this team for the rest of their life, because it's a really, really exceptionally special experience to bring a group of people together, have them all buy into the principles and values that it takes to be successful and make the sacrifices, have the work ethic, especially in a year like this where you had to overcome so much adversity and then accomplish what they were able to accomplish. Really special. So I'm going to remember this as a very special group.
Take our next question from Mike Rodak.
What did it mean to have Jalen Waddle on the field, and just how did his level of participation or his effectiveness compare to his own expectations going into this game?
Well, I don't think there's any question about the fact that Jalen was not 100% in the game. I think he was 100% fast, exploding, straight line, had a difficult time cutting off of that foot and slowing down. Those are the two things, that decelerating and cutting off of that foot were the two issues for him. And we just had a limited plan for him. We really had like plays that he could run where he could run in a straight line and didn't have to do a lot of cutting and didn't have to do a lot of route running and changing direction and doing some of the things that he's so good at, which is going in motion and running bubbles and orbits and all that kind of stuff. But as we lost receivers in the game, Smitty went down, Mechie went down, that group showed tremendous resiliency in this game to keep the next player coming in and doing a good job. So he probably played a little bit more there in the third quarter than what we had anticipated. We wanted 10 or 12 plays. He wanted to play. He was medically cleared to play. We knew he wasn't 100%, and he knows he's not 100%, but he thought he could contribute to the team, and I think he did in a very positive way. He had 3 catches in the game, and they were all sort of critical, type things. And, my hat's off to him I had the same injury, so I know the difficulties coming back from that. You're healed, but your ankle's so stiff, and it's difficult to sort of get the flexibility and the flexion back so you can explode like you want to, especially when you drop your weight on that foot, which comes when you slow down and you're trying to make a cut. So I have a lot of respect for Jalen Waddle, his mental toughness and his ability and hard work that he did to be able to come back.
Coach Saban, thanks for being with us today. And again, congratulations on the national title.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That concludes today's press conference with our national championship team. Thank you for being with us and have a great rest of the day.
Let's switch over right now to talk to Reese.